When done correctly, your podcast can give you authority in the marketplace and position you as an expert in your field. Not only is it a valuable tool to increase brand awareness, but it's an excellent way to connect with your audience and stay top of mind. I've got a podcasting expert with me today. He's going to break down how to overcome a lot of the common podcasting challenges and how to build your audience. Hi, I am Tim Fitzpatrick with Rialto Marketing. Thanks so much for taking the time to tune in. Here at Rialto Marketing, we believe marketing shouldn't be difficult, but if you want to accelerate revenue growth, you've got to remove your revenue roadblocks, and we can certainly help with that. I am super excited to have with me today Adam Adams from Grow Your Show. Adam, thanks for being here, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm stoked, Tim. Thanks for having me on the show. And I'm excited to have you on ours as well.
Yes. We're doing back-to-back days of recording here, so I'm excited to switch sides of the mic tomorrow. So before we dig into this, I love podcasting. I think there's so many advantages to do and benefits to doing it. Can't wait for you to share your expertise. Before we do that, though, I want to ask you some rapid-fire questions to help us get to know you. You good to jump in with both feet here?
Let's do it.
All right, man. When you're not working, how do you like to spend your time?
I like mountain biking and jeeping. Those are my favorite two things.
Okay, awesome. When we get off air, we need to talk about mountain biking. And a couple of my buddies growing up, huge into jeeping. Dude, you and I can have some great conversations. What's your hidden talent?
I have some weird hidden talents. I'll just say I can walk on my hands pretty well for somebody who was never really a professional gymnast. So I'm almost as good on my hands as I am on my feet.
Oh, man. Okay, that's an awesome hidden talent. What's the best piece of advice you've ever been given?
Very much is persistence and determination. A school teacher, my band director, made us memorize a bunch of quotes, and lots of the quotes had persistence and determination. One of them was by Calvin Coolidge, and it basically said, doesn't matter like how smart you are or how much schooling you've taken, really the things that make somebody successful is that they never quit. And they say persistence and determination are omnipotent. They have endless potential. And even back then, I just encompassed that, and it's done a lot for me in my life. And I want to expound on it a few more seconds because I think most people dabble, they try, they test, and when it doesn't work immediately, they throw up their hands, and they even become the type of skeptic that tells other people that the thing doesn't work.
Right.
Real estate investing doesn't work. Facebook ads don't work because they tried it. They never learned about it. And it didn't work for 2 weeks, for 3 weeks, for 3 months. But really, when you want to get good at something, when you really want to be successful with your new business, with your new podcast, it takes relentless persistence.
I love it. That quote from Calvin Coolidge is one of my favorites. So thank you for sharing it. What's one thing about you that surprises people?
I would have to say that I was born into a plural marriage, polygamy family. And so I have like 20 brothers and sisters. And that surprises most people. And generally speaking, gets people to ask lots and lots of questions. Half of them I don't know very well because we left when I was like 3 or 4.
So are you? Do you live that way now, or no?
I do not.
Okay.
No, I don't. My mother left when I was like 3 or 4, and I ended up growing up with her and my stepdad in a monogamous relationship. They're still married today. But so no, I don't live that way. I'm not part of that church, but I have recently started to learn to love and respect and appreciate that part of my family, even though there are some differences. And I actually just last week, or maybe it's been 2 weeks now, went to a family reunion and was able to meet like 5 of the 11 brothers and 3 of the 9 sisters. So
Oh,
it's
wow.
I'm working toward opening myself up to uh, more family type relationship. But to answer your question, I don't live a plural marriage life.
What does success mean to you?
Man, this is like the toughest one, and I feel honestly like when somebody asks me what does success mean, I always change my answer. I guess it's just however I feel that day.
Yeah.
But ultimately, if you are successful, I think you love what you do. I think you're content with what you do. I think you don't, you might want more, you might be striving for more, but you are content with what you have. And I think a big part of what I think of success that people miss is that they have the financial success only, but maybe they're a jerk to their kids or their spouse or their whatever it is. Um, I think a lot of people forget about what they really truly want for this money that helps them feel l- good enough,
Yeah.
and ultimately they're losing sight of it. And so for me, it's not that it's balance, but it's being happy and content and doing what you truly want to be doing.
Where's your happy place?
Yeah, that's a tough one. Well, I love being in the mountains. I love being on a river, river rafting. I I like being with my kids. So I'm gonna say my happy place is a hug from my son.
What qualities do you value in the people you spend time with?
Authenticity, integrity, honesty, open-mindedness. Those would probably be the four.
I love it. Thanks for sharing, Adam. So tell us a little bit more about what you're doing with Grow Your Show. Who are you working with? How are you helping folks?
Grow Your Show is a podcast agency. So our main goal is to support podcasters to be their easy button. Our main clients, our most common client, they make really good money in their company. They've been doing it for a long time, and they are the type of person that wants to stay in their lane and offload the hard stuff so it could just be the easy button for them. That's our main client. We basically do everything. I know it sounds crazy. We don't really get their guest for them or record the episode for them. They've got to either get their guest or come up with their content and push record. When that happens, we do everything else. And I'm going to miss a lot of things because we just do it all. But here's a few like parts that we make sure to do. We'll download the episode from online, and so we'll edit it. We'll write the show notes. We'll create artwork that can be used for promotion. We'll email their guest for them. So we'll take the guest bio, we'll write the show notes, we'll email that guest all of this promotional materials, audiograms, videograms, quote cards, and other promotional materials. We'll publish it all over on different audio platforms and video platforms. We write the title of it. We post it on their social. So, like we do all their organic social media posting on up to 3 places. And the list goes on and on and on. Basically, we become your whole back office
Got
so
it.
that all you really do is press record and we handle the rest.
So your clients are they're finding the guests. They're creating they're doing the actual interview. But outside of that, you guys are handling all the other aspects of the podcast.
Literally everything. Yeah.
Okay, got it. Yeah. So just for those of you that are watching, listening, that aren't familiar with this, I mean, there's a lot of moving parts with the podcast. That's not to say that it's difficult. I wouldn't say it's difficult, but there's a lot of things going on, and so somebody has to do that. Uh, so the fact that you guys do that for your clients, I think, is a huge benefit. And I'm of the opinion, I like the fact that you leave the content itself, the guests, to the client, because in my opinion, I think they're the best people for it, right? I think there's too many podcast agencies out there that are securing guests, and what ends up happening is like the people that are brought on the show just aren't, they're not really adding any value for the clients that they're serving. And we're gonna get into this as we dig into this, but I love the fact, I love how you have it set up. So, um, dude, let's just talk podcasting, man. Why should people even consider having a podcast in the first place?
I think of I think of our business strategy as having 3 parts to be able to influence our people. And one of the big portions is thought leadership. Podcasting is a really great way for thought leadership. The whole purpose for podcasting, think of all business, it's know, like, trust. That's how we
Yeah,
get clients. The most amount of people to know you, the highest percentage of them to like you, and the highest percentage of them to trust you. This is how we are working with people. This is how we make money. It's how we serve our listener, our customer. So the podcast, you're asking, why would people consider doing it? It's because you need people to talk about you when you're not in the room. It's thought leadership. The purpose is you put out content, you record something one time, and it's out in the airwaves. People like it, people share about it, people talk about you even when you're not in the room. So you're growing your influence by getting the most amount of people to know you.
yeah,
I call it the KLTI blueprint. KLTI, know, like, trust, and then invest. And this is the top of the funnel. The know part of the funnel, it builds the awareness, gets the
yeah.
most amount of people to know who you are, so that eventually they can like you and trust you and invest with you. Buy your products, buy your service, invest in your real estate deal, whatever it is.
I love it. There are a couple other things too that you kind of touched on that I see as benefits as well. With long form content like this, especially, like, I'm a huge believer in, if you're going to do a podcast, you might as well shoot video. So I know some people don't like that, but gosh, if you record the audio and the video, you get so much leverage, and you can take that one piece of content, and it can drive your entire content strategy, but it can also drive a lot of your other activity, your email marketing activity, your social media activity. It's not just I'm creating content. That content is feeding a lot of your other marketing efforts in your channels. And if you shoot video, you can leverage it big time. The other thing that I think is huge, and this touches on one of the things that I talked about, I hinted about before, is, man, I think that a hugely overlooked benefit of podcasting is the networking aspect of it, which is why I don't think it is the best thing in the world for, if you're outsourcing it, to have that agency or that freelancer be the one that is booking your guests. I think you want to strategically choose your guests, whether they're people that could be potential clients, or, great people to know and network with, potential referral partners. I don't think you want to just interview anybody. What are your thoughts on that?
No, I think 100%. I think most podcasters make several mistakes when choosing who they're going to bring on their show. And one of them is just somebody who's only looking out for themselves, just total self promotion. They're not there to give content. They're not there really to give value. They're just there to promote their self and their business.
Yeah,
And I think a lot of people make that mistake. Another big mistake that I've seen a lot of podcasters do when bringing on a guest is that the guest themselves are not adding value to the listener, not because they're being self promotional, but really because they, I'm going to use a real estate thing as an
Okay.
example. So there's tons of people that do these things called syndication. Their whole goal in syndication for real estate is they want passive investors. They want people to invest with the real estate deals that they close, because
Yep.
they ran out of their own money and now they still want to do deals. The only way for them to do deals is to bring on OPM, other
Yep.
people's money. And a lot of these podcasters that start real estate investing podcasts, unfortunately, they bring on completely the wrong guest for their purpose. And what I
Yep.
mean is they start asking the guest, how did you find the deal? What did you say to the broker? How did you raise the money? And so these are real estate investing topics, but the actual avatar that the person cares about, wants to serve, who's a passive investor, could couldn't give two craps about these three questions that I
Right.
mentioned. They care, how do they vet an operator? How do they vet a deal? How do they know if their money's going to be safe? How
Yep.
do they find an operator? How do they find the right market with a tailwind instead of a headwind,
Yep.
where the market is going to support them to make the most amount of money? How do we get them to unlock their hidden equity from their house? How do
Yep.
we get them to unlock their some money that they didn't even know that they had through their 401k, so that it can be self-directed, so that they can invest? These are things that the passive investor cares about. They don't care about how to operate a deal. To them, it doesn't matter. And so the podcaster is thinking this is on the same genre. How did you raise the money? What did you say to raise the money? And they're learning how to raise money themselves. But unfortunately, the actual avatar, the actual perfect client listener that they're really looking for, is not getting value because they're asking the wrong questions. They're bringing on the wrong type of person. For that for that type of person, I recommend that they have other passive investors. Hey, how did you do your first deal? When did you become financially free from it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Versus, how did you find a deal? How did you raise the money?
Yep.
The person that you want to serve is sitting there, this thinking to themselves, quote, "This podcast is not for me. I'm not getting anything out of this. I don't want to run my own deals. I got my business. I'm
Right.
running my business already. I don't want another job. I want passive income,
Yep.
and I want to be safe doing it." So, yeah.
Yeah. Dude, that's such an interesting point. And everything with marketing, whether it's a podcast or something else, all starts with, your ideal client persona, your buyer avatar, whatever you want to call it. It all starts there. So that's such a great point to make, because if we overlook that, um, our marketing is not going to work as well as it should. So here's my next question. We obviously touched on why you should start a podcast or why you should think about it. Let's say I make the decision, hey, I'm going to jump into this. What are some of the typical challenges people face when they after they've made that decision? I'm like, okay, I'm going to do a podcast.
Yeah, this could go in many directions, so I'll
Yeah.
try to keep it as focused as possible. The biggest mistake that I ever see is people taking the advice that they keep hearing, and it's not their fault. It's just what people keep telling them.
Yeah.
And it is, ready, fire, aim. It is, just get started. It is, don't overthink it. It is, done is better than perfect.
Mm-hmm.
So I understand where the advice comes from. Sometimes it's just better to have a podcast than to not have a podcast because you're overthinking things. The issue comes because there are 2.77 million podcasts as of about 6 months ago. 2.77 million podcasts in the world. That's a lot of competition. It's not nearly as much as there is on YouTube. I think there's 60,000. So it's like 30 times bigger. But If we are thinking about how do we make things work, unfortunately, for those people giving the advice of just start, don't overthink it, ready, fire, aim. Truly, I believe that podcasting is a ready, aim, fire. Podcasting is begin with the end in mind, like Stephen Covey always
Hmm.
mentioned.
Yeah.
And you started to discuss a few of those things. Figure out who, identify your avatar, figure out who
Hmm.
you're serving, figure out what is my goal for it.
Yes.
And then you start to outline and plan for it. So it's like just get started, I think means start focusing on it, start figuring these things out, not have a podcast that's crappy with bad sound quality, with no purpose. You don't know who you're going to interview or how you're going to interview. You haven't figured out any of this stuff. By just having a crappy podcast, it doesn't support your business. It becomes something that I think is more of a journal or a diary, because you're really the only person that listens to it.
Yeah.
It's you're putting out this content, but it's not getting in front of your right people because you went ready, fire, aim instead of ready, aim, fire. So the biggest thing is I think people, the biggest challenge that I think people do is they abruptly go into something without any study.
Yeah.
And I think when you do spend time, like with Stephen Covey, begin with the end in mind. When you do spend that time to figure out what is the plan, the purpose, what's your call to action going to be, how are you going to convert, I think that's a big thing. Another thing that I have seen a lot of people make a mistake on is this was me 100% on my first podcast, want to do the podcast quote for the right reasons. And what I mean by that is many humans will feel bad and guilty if they sell on their podcast. If they are there to help somebody, to hire them to go to the next level, it hurts their feelings because they're like, "Man, I wanted to start this podcast just to help, to leave a legacy, just to benefit others." And so they're kind of afraid to make money through their podcast, and because of that, they truly take money out of their pocket every month for their podcast instead of putting money in. And this is a recipe for quitting, for not being able to sustain something because you don't make that money. And so the point that I'm getting at is, if you believe in what you're doing, if your listener believes in their company, the business that they're running, and they think that they're offering value to the world, it's, in my opinion, critically important for many reasons. I might get into those in a sec here. Critically important that they call the listener to act. If the listener doesn't do whatever that next step is for them, it's a pointless podcast. There's no reason to have it. If you make money, I'm trying to remember who said this. The amount of money that's basically in your bank account, I'm paraphrasing here, is a direct reflection of how much value you're adding to your client, your service, how
Yeah.
well you're helping the world. For example, Jeff Bezos helping a lot of people make money, save money, not have to leave their house, buy things when they're wearing just their underwear or less. Jeff Bezos is helping a lot of people, and he makes a teeniest fraction of money, the not like less than 1% in many, many, many cases of what that transaction is. But he does it for so many people that he's a multi-billionaire.
Yeah.
Um, and he doesn't feel bad about it. He doesn't at all feel bad about it. I think, like for me and my podcast, for example, if I bring on 3 clients next month because I have the podcast, yes, that equates to a lot of money for the company over a year's period of time. Yes, I see how that could be a selfish thing for me to want to make money, but all 3 of those clients couldn't have done anything close to what we are doing for them for that amount of money or time.
Yeah.
And because I believe in it, because your listener fully believes in what they're doing for their client, they have to make money through it. It's important. And so we've got to kind of get over that. Um, I'll just say one other thing, and it would probably be equipment. It, a lot of people who say ready, fire, aim, you don't need a good mic in the beginning. The person will just record on their phone or record somewhere else, and they never get the traction because the listener, the normal listener, can hear the difference between kind of like echoey, hollow, like kind of
Yeah.
that. You can hear my chair going, and it just sounds. It's like, what is happening? There's too much. I can't. And then you have just a really nice quality sound, and it's appealing. It's easy to listen to. There's not a whole bunch of distraction, and it allows the listener to stay with you for a longer period of time. So I would say for the third piece to answer question number 2 on mistakes, it's that investing in some decent equipment doesn't have to be expensive. I can get you a mic for $20. Um, doesn't have to be expensive, but it is worth going that route instead of recording on your phone or using your webcam microphone or your
Right.
computer laptop microphone.
Yeah. You dropped a ton of value in there, Adam. The biggest thing that I took away from what you just shared was we've got to have a plan. It doesn't mean that it's going to be the perfect plan, but we need to put a general plan together of who we're targeting, why we're doing this, what's the end goal, and at least start to put some of these puzzle pieces together. We don't have to have the whole puzzle piece together, but man, we got to have some type of plan, because if we don't have a plan, things just become very haphazard. Um, that's the biggest thing I took away from what you just shared, which I think is huge, because as we talked about, there's a lot of moving pieces with the podcast, and man, it's not rocket science, but you got to have a general understanding of what you're getting into. And I can't remember, I haven't seen this statistic for a while, but it's something like 25%, only 25% of podcasts have I think made it past, God, what is it? Past episode 30 and published in the last 3 months. It's something like that. So if you can put a plan together where, again, going back to that quote you shared about persistence and determination, if you can stick with this, man, you'll be ahead of the vast majority of people. But gosh, if you don't have a plan in the beginning, odds are you're not going to be successful.
If you fail to plan,
You
you
plan to
plan
fail.
to fail.
Yes.
Boom.
Yeah. Yeah. You're speaking my language, man. So let's talk marketing. I want to do a show. I commit to it. I start doing it. This is not if you build it, they will come. It's not Field of Dreams. We need to market our podcast. What are some of the most effective ways that you're seeing and you're using to market your podcast and your clients?
There's a few things that we do that not everybody does, and they're paid marketing.
Okay.
One is a private message campaign. I have like an episode that really goes into this on our podcast, the podcast on podcasting, about the paid marketing campaign for direct messaging, like on Facebook, LinkedIn, and meetup.com are the 3 places that we go. We call it the 5-3-5 method. It's a very, very effective marketing plan if you want to trigger algorithms for a podcast. And I'm not going to be able to memorize the last 5, but the first 5 are very important, and the 3 are very, very helpful. And then I'll give you as many of the last 5 as possible.
That's all
And
good, man. And we'll put the link to that episode in the show notes.
perfect.
Yeah. So if you can get that to me,
Yeah.
we'll make sure people get that, because I love that. Because there's a lot of people that have podcasts that are not taking advantage of paid marketing. So I think this is
Yeah.
I think this is a really good path to go down here. So this first one you're talking about is private messaging campaigns.
Yep.
Okay.
So there's 5 things that you want to do through the private message campaign, and that is number 1, you want to get people to subscribe or follow the show. Number 2, you want to get those people, this is critically important, those people to download. Some people think that downloads by themselves are the thing that you're looking for, and they want them so much that they'll pay for fake downloads from like some robot. And that actually works against you in the algorithm. So you'll never really get ranked. You'll just be shadow banned. So, number 1, get people to follow. Number 2, get those people who are following to download. Number 3, get the people that have downloaded to actually listen. If it's just a download, but they're not listening, it'll work against you in the algorithm. If they are listening and you have a good listen ratio, then it'll work for you in the algorithm, which basically helps to boost your ranking where people can find you easier on different platforms. The 4th thing is to get a rating and a review, a written review for your podcast. Now, this is a part that's very divisive. People will argue against me. They'll say there's nothing that shows that getting more ratings and reviews boosts you in the algorithm. And if that's true, it's fine. Because it still works towards social proofing. If we
Yeah.
go back to Jeff Bezos or Amazon, and me personally, when I'm purchasing things on Amazon, what I like to do is I would never buy something that had a perfect 5-star rating with 4 people who rated it 5 stars.
Yeah.
But I probably would buy something with a 4.5 rating where 3,000 people rated it.
Yep.
Because I don't know if those 4 people just work for them, if it's their mom and dad, if it's the CEO and the marketing team. I don't know, but when
Yeah.
it's a couple of thousand, I'm more likely to trust it. And that's the same thing with ratings and reviews. It's called social proofing, and to illustrate it, whoever's listening can go to YouTube and type in lemmings jumping off a cliff if they want to type something like that. You'll see hundreds of these little gopher looking rodents. You'll see hundreds of them, maybe even thousands, going to the edge of a cliff. And they are all scared. None of them are doing anything. But as soon as one of them jumps, even before anything happens, the rest of the lemmings are like, it must be okay. Somebody else tried it. I'm going to do it too. And what I'm saying is human beings are very much about social proofing. When other people are doing it, it's more likely that we'll do it. When other people are against it, it's less likely that we will do it. And so when you have a significant amount of people giving positive ratings and reviews for a podcast, that social proofing allows us to feel confident in listening to it. When it only has a few, we usually ignore it. So
Yeah.
regardless if it triggers an algorithm or not, it triggers an algorithm within the other human beings. And they don't publish the exact algorithm anywhere anyway. So if they did, we would all abuse it. And the point would be you may as well get ratings and reviews.
Yeah.
The takeaways for it are to ask for honest ratings and reviews, not 5-star ratings reviews. There's a few reasons why psychological why that works best to ask for honesty. Additionally, on top of that, you want to ask the person that you're requesting to make sure that they've listened to an episode or two, and that the review that they write is about the podcast, not about you. So it shouldn't be, I'm Tim's mom. He's a great kid.
Yeah.
You should listen to his podcast. It should not be, oh, I met Tim at a conference. What a great guy. You should listen to his podcast. None of these have anything to do with the show.
Yeah.
And because of that, they work against you in the algorithm. The 5th thing is that the person keeps coming back. And what we've noticed is if they do all 5, if they follow or subscribe, if they download and they listen and they give social proofing, and then they come back to the show frequently, we're triggering algorithms that allow the podcast to get the best amount of results. The 3 places that we go to do private message campaign I mentioned were Facebook, LinkedIn, and Meetup. Meetup.com is a place that you can search for people that are looking for the exact thing in certain parts of the world or parts of the country. There's over 255,000 meetups in the world, not just in the US, by the way. So this is a place where you can really figure out what somebody's interested in. And you can also see how long ago that they were active in that meetup group. And then you can only, if you want, you can filter it so you only are talking about to the people that have recently been there. You can do similar things on LinkedIn and similar things through Facebook groups that you're looking for. And so those are the three places that we use, the 5, 3, and then the 5. The last 5 is, here's a few takeaways. It needs to be short and sweet. It needs to be personal. It needs to be ask, don't tell. Here's 3 of the last 5, and I'll just brief them. If you're doing a private message campaign and you are doing it, it's not paid advertising. You're doing the grunt work yourself.
Yeah.
So you're connecting with people. So by using these 3 things is going to help you, because if you're just copying and pasting a general thing and it doesn't feel personal to the person on the other side, then they're going to immediately flag it as spam. They're going to immediately discredit you. They're not going to want to connect with you. They're going to feel like you're pitching and selling, and nobody wants to be sold. They want to buy, but they don't want to be sold and persuaded. They don't like that feeling. So um, making it so that it's personal, so that you're reaching out to somebody. Go back to real estate if we can. Hey, I saw that you just I saw that you just did your first passive investment as a passive investor. That's awesome. How did you get into it? How did you find that's really cool. I just saw that you've been doing passive investing for like 3 years. Do you have any tips for me if I wanted to get started doing that? This is a personal thing. I saw you just did your first wholesale deal. I saw you just started your business. I saw that you just started your podcast. It's awesome. How's it going so far? Like personal, not just a copy and paste, try to blanket everybody. If
Yeah.
you're speaking to everybody, you're talking to nobody. So just use that takeaway. The other ones is ask, don't tell. A lot of people they give you all the info. Here's my podcast. Listen to my podcast. Listen to this person's podcast. Here's the link. And it's overwhelming. It's overbearing. It's too much, too fast. It feels like somebody that you don't even know is asking you to marry you. And you're like, what the heck? Like, I don't even know how to react to this. Like, we don't have that kind of relationship right now. You can't be asking me these questions.
Yeah.
So you want to basically lead them down. But if you're telling, if you're going up to somebody, I'm hot, you're hot, we should probably make some babies together. It's just not going to work. You're telling. But if you say, oh, nice shoes, where'd you get them? Or if you say, hey, I haven't seen you here, do you come here often? Or, just starting the conversation is a better way. And using questions is a pattern interrupt. It hooks them, it gets them thinking, and it helps them to drop their guard versus you telling them something. So the last one that I mentioned out of the 3 of the 5 was keeping it short and sweet. A lot of people do paragraphs and links and a bunch of other stuff. When you do all that, it's just overwhelming. It's too much. So keep it short. I saw that you just started your business. That's really cool. What are you focused on? In what does your company do, or whatever? Just personal and a question. 1 or 2 sentences, 3 at the most. And you can pay us to do that. You can pay your own virtual assistant to do that. You can be the person who does that. This is one of the most effective ways to market a podcast, because they actually trigger algorithms to get you ranked, which means more people will see you. Other marketing things, we do Facebook ads.
Okay.
We do banner ads. One thing that's a very high dollar is Spotify ads. So we're not currently doing that for our clients, because none of our clients are paying like $30,000 a month to us. But Spotify ads are kind of cool. They just have a giant budget. here's the reason why I like them so much. Every single person who listens to those Spotify uh, ads listen to Spotify. So if your podcast is on Spotify and you're promoting on the same platform, it's not difficult at all for that person to just click on a link and stay in the platform they're already in.
Got it.
So it's a very effective one if you have the budget for it, but it generally costs 20 or 30,000 a month to be able to do that. So not everybody's going to have that type of budget, but it's a really good one. We Here's a cheap one: collaborations.
Yeah.
So just like what Tim and I are doing, your host and me, I'm on his show today, and tomorrow we're recording him on my show as well. And what this means is I can add value to you, his listener, and you may or may not come and join me on my podcast. You may or may not say, I liked what you had, I'm going to hire you. And the same thing when Tim's on my podcast, he's hacking in to my network, my followers, and one or two of them are going to move over to this podcast because it's obvious for them. And if they don't, they at least have that awareness. They remember the content. They're more likely to share it with other people, and it grows that influence. Finally, when doing that, it makes Adam Adams and Tim Fitzpatrick more searchable on the internet. When we are doing our due diligence to work with somebody, we generally will Google them. Nowadays, this is a normal thing.
Yeah.
We're gonna say, Adam Adams, let's see if he's got any negative feedback. He sounds great, but I want to make sure nobody's saying anything bad about him before I spend that kind of money. So they search, and then this comes up, another one comes up, another one comes up, and they're like, oh, this guy's really well known, has nothing negative. Maybe I will hire him. So by having this, it grows your SEO, it grows your credibility, it grows your searchability, so that people can go to that trust factor. Remember the KLTI blueprint: know, like, trust, and invest.
Yeah.
The trust is the one right before investing, and being able to find you when searching and find good things about you is a helpful way for most people, just like the social proofing on Amazon and podcasting, to allow them to say, hey, let's go ahead and work with this person. So there's a lot. I could definitely keep going on paid ads. Those are a lot of what we do in our company, though.
Yeah, I love that. There's a lot of podcast marketing agencies that don't do anything with the marketing side of it, though. They're just doing the logistics. So I love that is something that's built into what you do, because so many people overlook it, especially the paid ad side of it. So if you do have budget, where you can put some budget in to help grow the show, you're different in offering that. So I love that. This has been fantastic, Adam. Any last minute thoughts you want to leave us with before we close things out today?
I like it. I like it. I will say that a thing that a lot of podcasters are afraid to do, they don't have the confidence immediately that they can get good guests. So maybe we could end with that, because I've been interviewing. I've published a little over 200 episodes. I think it's around 250 now. And because I know this is a very normal concern for most new podcasters about getting good guests, I ask almost every guest on my show, how do you get good guests? And they generally will say, it's way easier than I thought. I thought it was going to be hard. I thought everybody was going to say no. I thought, who would want to be on my show? But then they find that it's like they're almost fighting people off, because a lot of people want that
Yes.
exposure. A lot of people want to add value. And so it's much, much easier than they thought. And a couple of resources for that would be like Podbooker, Podmatch,
Mm-hmm.
even paid companies like Interview Valet. It's like costs money to get on, but these help you to do these to get people on your show and to actually do what we mentioned before, where you're getting on their show and hacking into the people that follow them. So
Yeah.
I'd just say, don't be afraid of getting good guests. It's much easier than you once you get started. It just seems so easy.
Well, that's a fantastic piece of advice. Adam, you know what you're doing. People, if you are interested in starting a podcast and you don't want to do all the work, uh, Adam knows what the hell he's doing. Where can people go to learn more about you?
I really appreciate that, Tim. Our website is growyourshow.com. And if somebody just wants to check out the podcast, it's free. They can just go to the podcast on podcasting. Very interesting name. I call it POP for short. But the podcast on podcasting is a free resource for you, hundreds of episodes where every single one is to help you be a better podcaster.
I love it. Adam, thank you so much, man. I appreciate you taking the time. Head on over to growyourshow.com, or if you want to listen to POP, search the podcast on podcasting on your favorite platform and check it out. I want to thank you guys for watching, listening. I appreciate you. Again, I am Tim Fitzpatrick with Rialto Marketing. Couple things I want to let you know. If you are struggling with your marketing, you're not sure what that next step should be, what direction you should be headed, head on over to our website at rialtomarketing.com. That's RIALTO marketing.com. Book a free GPS call, and I will help give you some guidance and point you in the right direction to go to get where you want to go faster. If you want access to the 90-day marketing plan template that we use for our business, our clients, you can get that over at growthmarketingplan.com. All the downloads, the templates you need, sample plans, the video instructions, they're all there. As Adam touched, with podcasting, it's no different with your overall marketing or anything else in business. You got to have a plan if you want to get to where you want to go faster. Thanks so much. Till next time, take care.